Alright, Shalom Akim. Before I begin, I want to start off by giving infinite praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachak Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders. I agree millstone, men who teach and rule well. And peace and blessings be unto you, full of Akim, your brothers. Let us push out this word in truth, sincerity, and in faith. And those rolling in this lesson, I have an article here. This is, as of this recording, it was posted about 8 days ago, so just last week, about a threat that Putin had made concerning the underwater sea cables that stretch from my understanding, that stretch from Europe and to pretty much the I think it's called the Balkan Sea. Right, and I'm gonna read a little bit into this because as soon as I read this article, the another article that was similarly sent by one of the brothers in the chats, um, when I read into it, it's it kind of put a little scare, not into me, but so much as when you think about it and being in these being in the point of view of these telecom giants, and these different companies, parent companies that actually, of course, have to rely on the backbone of data, which is telecom. But I'm gonna read into it. So it says Russia could trigger worldwide internet blackouts by sabotaging undersea cables with its shadow fleet. NATO defense chiefs have been warned. Telecoms giants fear the critical network of underwater cables are defenseless at the mercy of tyrant Vladimir Putin. Writing to the UK, EU, and NATO, firms including Vodafone, O2 owner um, Telefonica, and Orange warned action was needed following a string of suspected Russian attacks on the data lines. In a chilling open letter to defense chiefs, the companies wrote, the repercussions of damage to subsea cables extend far beyond Europe, potentially affecting global internet and power infrastructure, international communications, financial transactions, and critical services worldwide. All right. So that alone, all right, that damage, all right, that could potentially come from Russia. Not only is it just catastrophic, but it's literally going to put a halt to every single thing that pretty much affects everyone in their daily lives, living in the information age, right? We all rely on phones, cars, even especially in this day and age, Tesla, all right, and of course, most importantly, concerning this truth, is actually hearing the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, all right, and this indeed can and will be a plague, all right, that the Lord is going to put on all the land. All right, so before I keep reading, we're going to bring out Amos 8 and 11. It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. Yeah, that's right. All right, and we've seen that time and time again, all right, over the course of many years, our brothers have been into this truth. All right, how many times that YouTube has been shut down? How many times we've even received different types of laws and regulations that pretty much not necessarily put a chokehold, all right, on the videos that brothers can upload, but pretty much just that, attempts to actually try to bottleneck this truth. Saying, hey, you can't upload this because such that and the third, medical misinformation. Oh, here it is, HATE speech, right? Talking about what the government can potentially do concerning the MOTB. Of course, them viewing it as lies and deceit and treason. Here it is. It's nevertheless it's the truth, and it's the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. But nevertheless, we understand that not only does this have to happen, not only is this prophecy, but it is indeed a very real thing. All right, and not only is it something that's just in the works or a rumor, but an actual threat. All right, from Gog and Magog himself, man. So I'm gonna keep reading in this article. It says more than 500 cables are used to carry out about 95% of all international data. They crisscross the seabed, but the remote location makes them hard to defend. Several suspected sabotage attacks have already been taking place, with defense sources pointing to the finger of blame squarely at the Kremlin. Amid claims its shadow fleet of commercial vessels have been used, Russia has denied any involvement. All right, and it's funny because out of all the threats, right, they're not even this current our current president is even an hour, but America's current president, he's not even acknowledging these type of threats that Baldy here makes, you know. But nevertheless, the Lord will indeed put the spirit on the heathen nations to act out his vengeance, man. All right, and that includes not only America but as well as every other part of the world. All right, now I'm gonna go back to Joel, but I'm gonna get or Amos rather. I'm gonna go back to Amos later. I'm gonna get Joel 3. I'm gonna try to verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause the mighty ones to come down, O Lord. All right, and this is concerning what? Pretty much everything, all the offenses that's come from what? Babylon the Great, man. All right, and concerning Babylon, my current my job pretty much consists of telecom, more specifically data centers, right? Actual buildings that house the not only the concept but the little entity that's known as the cloud. You know, that goes from Microsoft, Amazon, pretty much all these tech giants that I can think of. You know, so all, photos, even deleted images and photos. You know, important documents, um, things that literally make the world go round. You know, in the virtual world is all housed in these big buildings. You know, so even that alone, and that's why that's why it's so heavy, because here it is. When you think of a repercussion like that, you can only think that Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is going to put the spirit on these heathen to actually act out on that plague, because that indeed is a plague. All right, it's gotten to the point now in the year 2025, people have gotten used to actually having technology in their hands and not letting go of it. You know, it's almost like it's as routine as breathing. You know, but nevertheless, as a man of the Lord, obviously we're not going to be put in that derision. You know, that's going to be for the people who it's going to be coming towards. All right, and of course for the purpose of what? The famine of the word. You know, Joel 3, and I'm gonna reread actually 11. It says, assemble yourselves together and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Yeah, and that's right. And essentially, what? Not only are the heathens are assembling themselves, but here it is. They're doing it for what? That's all for the purpose of putting out that fury. All right, that indignation that Yahweh Shem Yahushua has toward Babylon, man. And that is indeed going to be a harsh plague that's coming to America, because here it is. Not only are we just going to lose all technology, we're going to lose, because this is just another way of as what is known as an EMP attack. And in a lot of ways, this is just that, the shutting down of technology. You know, here it is. The Lord put the spirit on Putin. You know, just to put that threat out there, right? And indeed he has. It said that Russia has involved or has denied any involvement, but they pretty much have. I thought there was another article. I wish I had brought it out, where it actually had showed. It looks something like this, but underwater cables and pipelines. All right, the repercussions of what can actually happen. All right, them actually literally shooting at it. All right, planting bombs, explosives, as well as um um pretty much, yeah. Well, that goes right alongside with explosives, but landmines as well. You know, and the actual visual maps that you can actually see that will indeed affect that local and data infrastructure, man. You know, but it's catastrophic. Nevertheless, this is all coming from Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right. dubbed the backbone of Britain. I'm just gonna skim over. Um, it says, dubbed the backbone of Britain, the UK depends on a vast network of gas pipelines, electrical cables, and offshore energy hubs to function. But defense officials have become increasingly concerned that they could be targeted. All right, and it's funny because this in itself is also pretty much similar to even what happens if, more specifically in America, what happens to America if all trucking, if all the trucking of America just ceased, right, and just comes to a halt. You can kiss goodbye the 24/7 marts, all right, your Giants, Safeways, Walmarts, and Targets. It's over. you know, and that's concerning an actual famine. An actual famine where you can't go out and just get food and water. Things that the necessities of it all. All right. So how much more actually hearing the words of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man? All right. That's pretty much it. All right. I want to bring out that the article. It's very interesting, but I wanted to end it off with this as well. This is Amos 5:18. It says, "Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him." Right? Because this is indeed the last thing that someone could ever think of. Here it is. You're already going to have people resisting the temptations of the MOTB, right? Hooting and hollering over their families, right? Over these upcoming race wars, pointing the blame at these different groups, mainly the men of the Lord, right? And then on top of all this, an EMP attack ensues. You can't use your phones. You can't go on the internet anymore. You can't scour TikTok, and that's even another thing. Even folly ridden things, apps like fucking TikTok. Excuse my vulgarity. People are not gonna have access to these things anymore, and that in a lot of ways is also people's versions of wine. Things that come that bring pleasure onto you in times of distress and affliction. That's not gonna be there no more, man. All right, it's all gonna come harshly and bitterly to the inhabitants of America, man. All right, as well as everywhere else around the world, man. As it is written, that's where the Lord is gonna deliver all His elect from the four corners of the earth, and all the elect will indeed what they're gonna endure temptation, and they're also gonna endure those similar times because we're gonna be known of it. We're gonna have the knowledge of these things. So that's why threats that can be made from these different political leaders, all right, to cause this much destruction. Hey, we say we embrace it because we know Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is going to be there for us. We actually desire, all right, with the correct understanding, the day of the Lord, right? Verse 19, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him. Yeah, so just constant misfortune. Let's say bad luck. But no such thing exists. All right, so just constant misfortune back to back. Plagues in an instant. Verse 20, shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light? Even very darkness and no brightness in it? All right, which is a rhetorical question. And that day of the Lord is indeed coming, and not only is this going to be a very gloom and dim time, but we also going to have to remember the only form of light in that time is going to be the man of the Lord. And actually having a knowledge of these things, and being prepared to for what's to come. So Lord willing, this video was edifying. Just want to bring that out. I'm also, Lord will post the article in the description box. I don't know once this video is done. So Lord willing, this video was edifying. I'm gonna close out by giving infinite praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Makakodash, double honor to the apostles and elders. I agree most on men who teach and rule well, and peace and blessings be unto you, full of Akim, your brothers that also push out this word in truth, faith, and sincerity. And with that, I'm gonna say Shalom.